In 1985, China was a nation with crumbling roads and barely any modern infrastructure, a stark contrast to the United States, which boasted a sprawling network of interstates and cutting-edge urban planning. Fast forward 40 years, and the transformation is nothing short of remarkable. China has rapidly overhauled its infrastructure, constructing world-class high-speed rail systems, expansive highways, and futuristic urban centers that have left American infrastructure struggling to keep pace. This leads to the question, what are the factors behind China's meteoric rise? Well, there is quite a bit, from centralized decision-making and massive state funding to streamlined regulations and a national drive for modernization. Explore why these elements have enabled China to build such impressive infrastructure, while America continues to face significant hurdles. One of the key differences lies in the very structure of government. In China, the centralized one-party system allows for swift, top-down decision-making. The Chinese government can set long-term strategic goals and then marshal resources and labor across vast regions without the same level of bureaucratic inertia. When a project is announced, everything from planning to execution is coordinated under one unified vision, and local governments are generally aligned with national priorities. This enables China to overcome obstacles quickly and to implement projects on a scale and timeline that is hard to imagine in more decentralized systems. In contrast, the United States operates under a federal structure with multiple layers of government, federal, state, and local, all of which have their own priorities and processes. This division often leads to gridlock, with projects stalling due to disagreements over funding, environmental reviews, or local opposition. The American system, designed to ensure accountability and public participation, can inadvertently slow down decision-making when it comes to large-scale infrastructure projects. Another critical factor is funding and financial strategy. China's infrastructure development is largely funded by state-controlled banks and government-backed financing, allowing for massive investments without the constant pressure of political cycles or shareholder returns. The Chinese government treats infrastructure as a key driver of economic growth, often willing to take on significant debt to fund these projects because the long-term benefits, such as enhanced trade routes, urbanization, and industrial efficiency, are seen as essential to national progress. On the other hand, in the United States, infrastructure funding is often caught in a tug-of-war between federal budget constraints, political disagreements over taxation, and a reliance on public-private partnerships that can be less nimble in times of urgent need. The debate over who should foot the bill, federal taxpayers or local communities, further complicates and slows down the process, leaving many projects in limbo. Regulatory environments also play a major role. In China, regulations are implemented in a top-down manner, which means that once a project is approved, it moves quickly through planning and construction. The government can streamline permits and reduce local opposition by emphasizing national interests over local concerns. Environmental reviews and zoning laws are still in place, but they are often managed in a way that minimizes delays, allowing projects to maintain momentum. In contrast, the United States has a much more fragmented regulatory framework. While these safeguards are essential for protecting communities and the environment, they can also lead to lengthy legal challenges, multiple layers of reviews, and a piecemeal approach to development that slows progress. The extensive public consultation processes in the United States, although democratic in nature, often result in significant delays as communities and advocacy groups fight to have their voices heard. Cultural and historical contexts also contribute to these differences. China's rapid urbanization over the past few decades has created an insatiable demand for modern infrastructure, which in turn has become a symbol of national pride and progress. Massive projects such as the high-speed rail network, which now spans tens of thousands of kilometers, are celebrated achievements that underscore the country's emergence as a global economic powerhouse. The drive for modernization is embedded in the national narrative, inspiring both government officials and citizens to view infrastructure projects as essential milestones in China's development. In the United States, however, Much of the country's major infrastructure was built during the mid-20th century. Many of these projects, from interstate highways to bridges and railroads, are now aging and in need of repair. The focus has shifted towards preserving existing structures and maintaining a way of life that values historical continuity over rapid transformation. This cultural emphasis on preservation and cautious change can make it harder for America to embark on bold, transformative projects. Let's consider specific examples to illustrate these points. China's high-speed rail network, the largest in the world, was built in a remarkably short period of time. Within just a couple of decades, China has constructed an extensive network that connects major cities and rural areas alike, driving economic integration and reducing travel times significantly. This achievement was made possible by the government's ability to direct resources, mobilize a vast workforce, and bypass many of the bureaucratic hurdles that typically slow down infrastructure projects. Meanwhile, in the United States, proposals for high-speed rail, such as those in California and the Northeast Corridor, have encountered numerous delays. Funding disputes, legal challenges, and local resistance have all contributed to a pace of development that falls far short of China's rapid execution. The story of energy infrastructure further highlights the contrast between the two nations. In recent years, China has aggressively pursued renewable energy projects, solar farms, wind turbines, and modern grid systems, recognizing that energy independence and environmental sustainability are crucial for long-term development. The state's ability to coordinate investments across regions has enabled China to rapidly modernize its energy infrastructure, positioning it as a leader in the global green energy revolution. In the United States, energy infrastructure often struggles to keep pace with demand and innovation. Fragmented policies, regulatory bottlenecks, and partisan debates over environmental regulations contribute to a slower transition to modern energy systems. This, in turn, affects the overall efficiency and resilience of American infrastructure. Labor dynamics and construction practices further underline the differences. In China, there is a vast and often more flexible labor force, ready to take on large-scale construction projects. The government can mobilize workers through state-owned enterprises, ensuring that projects remain on schedule and within budget. Labor regulations in China, while evolving, tend to favor efficiency and rapid deployment over lengthy negotiations. In contrast, the United States has a more complex labor market, characterized by strong union protections and stringent labor laws. These protections are vital for ensuring fair wages and safe working conditions, but can sometimes lead to higher costs and extended project timelines. The result is that Chinese infrastructure projects often move faster and cost less per mile than their American counterparts. Underlying all these factors is the question of political will and national priorities. In China, infrastructure development is not just a matter of economic growth. It is a symbol of national rejuvenation and a demonstration of global competitiveness. The government's unwavering commitment to modernization is reflected in its ability to set ambitious goals and execute them efficiently. Every new highway, high-speed rail line, or urban transit system is a testament to the state's determination to build a future that can support a rapidly growing economy. Conversely, in the United States, political polarization and short-term electoral cycles often hinder long-term planning. Policy priorities can shift dramatically with each new administration, making it difficult to sustain the kind of consistent investment required for large-scale infrastructure projects. Competing interests at various levels of government mean that infrastructure often takes a back seat to more immediate political concerns, leaving many projects underfunded and incomplete. The differences in approach between China and the United States have significant implications for the future. As China continues to expand its infrastructure, it is not only boosting its own economic growth, but also reshaping global trade and investment patterns. Modern infrastructure attracts businesses, facilitates efficient logistics, and supports rapid urbanization, advantages that can propel a country to the forefront of the global economy. On the other hand, America's challenges in upgrading its infrastructure may hamper its competitiveness in an increasingly interconnected world. Aging roads, bridges, and transit systems can slow economic growth, increase costs for businesses, and diminish quality of life for citizens. The contrast is stark. While China's infrastructure is paving the way for future prosperity, the United States risks falling behind if it cannot overcome the barriers that impede swift and effective development. If you would like to see more videos like this, please drop a like and subscribe for more content.